Hello, welcome back to Math Time with Professor Prime, and I'm your host as always, Professor Prime. And today we're going to talk about Math and Pokken Tournament, the Pokemon fighting game developed by Bandai Namco that was released on the arcade, the Wii U, and later ported to the Switch is Pokken Tournament DX. So, yeah, let's get into it. Pokken Tournament is an awesome game. It is kind of weird and surreal in its own right, but it's cool, and it has a lot of math in it. And since it's a fighting game, I don't think this is going to be too much of a shock, or at least when you stop and think about it. But if it is, I hope to lessen that shock by talking about it, as well as my experiences with the game. So I'm going to talk about the gameplay. I'm going to talk about the math in that. I'm going to talk about like the more meta behind the scenes stuff too, and my experiences with the game, like I was saying. So yeah, here we go. So with Pokken Tournament, it is a fighter, right? And the idea is that you have a Pokemon and you're fighting another Pokemon, and there's health involved. There's a synergy gauge involved, and you have these representations of a Pokemon's health and synergy gauge, which the health can decrease over time, the synergy gauge can increase. Um, but either way, there's math and how all of this is displayed, whether directly or through a visual representation. The idea is, right, you're trying to defeat your opponent. You're trying to take down their health. You're trying to keep yours. And as you do this, you're building up your synergy gauge, which will allow you to like mega evolve or use ultimate attacks, whatever the case may be. Furthermore, there are assists that you can use. I think you get two per battle. It's been a while, but I think you get two. And the idea is you want to be strategic about them because some can increase your health, some can increase your attack, some can increase your defense, and others might increase your synergy gauge. Then some other ones do some other things. But I think it's worth mentioning that some do multiple things at once, and so you want to like look at which assist does what, but also like look at the recharge screen, or sorry, the recharge time, because you might use one and it might take a while to recharge during battle. Like you might have it and you can use it from the start if you wanted to, but then it might take a while to restart. But yeah, so right off the bat, there's a lot of math in the fighting. There's a lot of math in the combos that you could do. There's math in the health that you have, the synergy that you could build up that's displayed by the synergy gauge. There's math in the assist. But then the game keeps track of your stats. And while a lot of games do that, I don't see a lot of games that actually like show you what those stats are. Don't get me wrong, there are a decent amount out there. It's just like it's not necessarily the norm. But in this case, you get a good idea of like how many times did you win, how many times did you lose, how many times did you do so online versus offline, who did you play as the most, things like that, right? And there's so much math in that, just keeping track of it, but also how you see that, right? You have a lot of options. You can build up money as you go on. You can get different items. You can change how your player character looks. You can change different things about how you want the game to look, right? There's also, at least for the Switch version, there's 3-on-3, which is pretty cool. So you can choose your three characters. You can look at their different strengths, their different weaknesses. You can see which ones will like work well together. You can mix and match, and there's a lot of math in doing that and picking those three. So I think that's all pretty cool. There's different modes. There's like an online mode, there's the training mode, and there's math and how all those function and flow. So I think that's pretty cool. With Pokken Tournament, like there's a lot going on with it, right? Because it's like it's made by Bandai Namco, but released on Nintendo systems and also an arcade. So if I'm remembering it right, like Bando Namco, Namco, they made the game, they published it to the arcade machines, um, and also I think like the Wii U, and then like the Pokemon team and Nintendo published it on the other systems. I might be thinking about that wrong, but the idea is there was a lot of moving parts. With that in mind, yeah. So Pokken Tournament, like I enjoyed playing it. It was kind of a weird game. Like one of the things that's worth noting is it's not as straightforward as you might think. There's two types of phases in battle, like and like different strategies that you could run with that. Like there's the field phase where you're able to like freely move around, um, but you know certain effects or certain combos might not be easy to pull off while you're in that mode, right? Um, and then there's like the dual phase where maybe you get more access to different combos and maybe some other things happen along the way, right? There's like a trade-off, mathematically speaking and gameplay wise, that happens when you're switching between the phases. But the idea is like you can switch between those or you could be knocked into those, whatever the case may be. Yeah, so there's a lot of math involved in this game. Like there's a lot of math in the music. There's a lot of math in how it's programmed, how it's being displayed to you. When you're buying a game, you're also considering how much you want to spend on that game, right? How many times or how many hours you might get out of it. There's a lot of math to consider, and I think it's pretty cool. And fighting games in general are pretty mathematical. Gaming in general is pretty mathematical, and I think that's a cool and beautiful thing. I enjoyed playing Pokken Tournament. It's been a while, but I remember I was at it for a while. If you haven't played it, and you're curious about it, I think it is worth it to explore it, if not just to say that, hey, you played it and you got to see what the fossil was about. Um, and so I do recommend you getting it for the Switch if you do have the Switch, because you get all the characters plus some, you know, and you get like the 3 on 3. Um, and it's the most up to date version. Again, like I had fun with it. It was a different kind of Pokemon game because if you're used to the main games, you're used to that turn-based system, and you're used to like dealing with type advantages and all that good stuff, and that's fine, that's good. Like going back. Oh wait, my phone froze for a second. Sorry about that. But what I was saying was there's a reason why people keep on going back to Pokemon. There's a reason why I keep on going back to Pokemon. It's fun. But with Pokken Tournament, it did mix up some things, and I think it did so in an interesting way, and it functions um, in its own way, because the dual phase that I was talking about is more traditional to like fighters, you know. It's more like what you would see in a Tekken or a Soul Calibur game, sort of, kind of, which isn't too shocking given Bandai Namco made it. But there's also that field phase, which I think was an adjustment for me, and you definitely have to consider it. So you have two phases, several things that you could do with it, and the game will keep you going for a while. And they have like that give you different items and things like that. And it looks like my phone keeps on freezing. I don't know what it's doing today, but yeah, I'm gonna close this out and just say that yeah, Pokken Tournament, cool game, fun, full of math. I hope you have a great day. Professor Prime out.